Hello and welcome to Infinite Stories, the tool I've been working on for quite some time. Now, over the past few days, I've been working on a few different features, but first I thought it's only right to highlight one that is already possible for quite some time. Now, imagine you want to learn a new language, or you just want to read in your own native tongue a story. The tool seems to be only possible to use in English, right? Well, no. You can also use it in German. Of course, this current screen is English, but if we're talking about the stories, it's actually quite simple to create one in German. Let's assume I go to ChatGPT and ask for a story, and of course you would come up with your own ideas at some point, but I can use my native tongue, which is German, and just paste the stuff in. We will use a reading level for low middle graders because let's assume we want to learn German, so it shouldn't be too complex of language spoken. I still want it to be a fantasy, maybe have specific themes about coming of age and family, and the tone of voice should be playful. And that's pretty much it already. We can just tell the large language model, bitte schreib die Geschichte auf Deutsch. And with this, well, it's already working on it. And as you can see, it is written in German. Now, as I mentioned, you can do this either to learn a new language, because there are not that many stories on the reading level that you are currently at. Right, when you're learning a language, you're not instantly at the mother tongue level. But you do have the option to try out a few different things, right? And you can very simply see in this case, it's using not too long sentences. And as a German native speaker, I can tell you it's not too complicated. Then again, it's my mother tongue, so maybe it is too complicated and I should try a different version. But that's just the first thing. Now, let's imagine you already created a story, and I'll use one that I've been working on already in English, because then everyone can understand it, potentially, and want to optimize that story, right? It is great to have a first draft, and the first drafts here are, let's call them reasonable, because I wouldn't want to call them bad. But they can, of course, be improved. And for this, I introduced the Story Analyzer. The Story Analyzer is basically a giant menu where you can, well, who guessed it, analyze the different chapters and optimize them either by your own hand or with the help of AI. Now, the analyzation parts are divided into different sections, right? You can analyze the plot, maybe the pacing in detailed or not so detailed manner, the language that is used, the characters and emotions, but also if you're using a lot of cliches. And with everything AI, please keep in mind, these are mere suggestions, right? So this is not perfect because it's just AI. It does not know everything about you, how you want to make the story look and feel. So your word is always better than whatever the AI produces, but does give you a lot of hints, right? Let's assume that you want to understand, as I just mentioned, maybe I'm using a lot of cliches, and that can be, again, part of the story, but it can also be something that is a bit dull as a reading experience because you read the same terminology over and over again, and it gives you a few options on how to optimize your story, right? It tells you, for example, how much passive voice is included, some evidences where it's good, where it's not so good. It gives you some flagged items that could potentially be worked on, right? It gives you a very decisive understanding. It's all working with AI in the background, right? But even provides you some very specific examples that could be optimized. He was as cold as ice could be his resolve solidified, crystalline structure forming over his emotions, impervious to the chatter. And if this is better or worse, you can, of course, decide for yourself. But at the end of the day, it does help to understand how language, how stories, how everything is structured. Again, don't put too much value on all the flagged items, but it does help to get an understanding. And if you want to be very daring, you can even hit the rework button, right? And it is trying to put a few of the suggestion into it, like usually the bigger, more obvious issues, and it's trying to provide you with a new text. You can accept it. You can also just not accept it, right? Of course. Get a good understanding of where the differences are, why it did what it did, and these can be what you want to go for, but these can also be absolutely not what you want to go for. So, while it gives you all of these options, it does not force you to do anything with it, and your story is still your story, which is very important because, well, you're the author, right? And that's that. Another feature I've been working on, or actually reworking, is the image generation feature. And here again, please keep in mind that it's currently not integrated into the tool, but gives you the option to create a prompt for then an image generator to then yourself upload, etc. And while the previous version was working great, it was mostly putting everything into the prompt and hoping for the best. So while I was creating some of my previous stories, I had to manually remove certain parts of the prompt generation to ensure that the result that I wanted to get out of it was actually there. Now I reworked the whole thing. It's looking a little bit different for everyone who looked into the previous version, and I do have a lot of options to work with. But it's pre-selecting you the 5, I think, like 5 chunks of the story. Is it the most recent ones or the last ones? I think it's the beginning 5 ones. And pre-selecting them so they are still part of the prompt. It's also pre-selecting the genre, but you can decide, well, actually I do want the title to be included, which would then be, who would have thought, included, right? So we can decide what should be part of it and what shouldn't. And we can also further customize the style. Previously, this was mostly just the art style. Now you can, of course, select the art style, and there are still way more options than is good for the beginning, but it does help to give an understanding and something to play around with. So let's assume we want to go with, I don't know, an oil painting style, but now you can also include like the time of day. So it's the golden hour, it should be, I don't know, rainy, and I don't think these actually make sense because it's in the middle of the night. So maybe let's go with night time instead. And also I want, well, warm colors to be used, right? And if you're uncertain, here you can see the whole prompt that is used for the image generation. And it gives a lot of advice to how the final prompt should look like. And in the end, this will be automated, right? So this prompt will be created, and then after that, automatically the images. For now, we still have to go to, for example, Nano Banana, paste it in, and create a picture. And with these new tools, it at least was way easier for me to do this than it was for before. So now I can create whatever I want. And those are the tools that I've been working on so far. And yes, they are not perfect yet, and there's still a lot to do, but it keeps getting better and better. And that's it already. If you ever want to be part of a story, like I read about you or something like this, don't hesitate to write me in the comments. I would love to get some insights on what the story should be about, and then I make it happen. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye!